Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Reardon and today we're making a rocket ship cake. You can make this cake even if you have no cake decorating equipment in your house at all. The only supplies you'll need is some fondant and some food colouring. Apart from that, it's all normal stuff that you would have in your house. Today's video is sponsored by Wix. Thank you to them for that. There is a link to Wix below this video so you can click on that and go and get started creating your very own professional looking website in just a few easy steps. The rocket part of this cake is made of 2 large biscuits, so let's bake those first. Place the sugar and the butter into a bowl and add in your spices. Now I've got some cinnamon here and a little bit of vanilla, and all these recipe quantities are listed on the howtocookthat.net website for you, and there's a link to that below. And then you want to mix that together. Add in the eggs and mix that in too. Next, add in the flour and mix it until it's just combined. You don't want to whip this up. You want the least amount of air in it as possible so that it doesn't spread when it's baking. Put some baking paper on the counter and add 2 even objects either side. I'm using paint stirrer sticks. You could use thin books or chopsticks. And then put the dough in the middle and add more baking paper on top and just roll out the dough or spread it out. By using the sticks on either side, you get your dough to be rolled perfectly even in thickness the whole way along. Dust it with a little bit of flour so that when we add the template it doesn't stick, and then put the rocket shape on top and cut around the shape of the rocket there. Then flip it over and cut out another one. You can use the leftover dough here and make a 3rd rocket so that you have a spare one just in case one breaks or you muck one up when you're icing it or something like that. And then you just need to bake those in the oven until they're golden. While that's baking, put a round cookie cutter onto a plate or whatever you're going to serve the cake on and fill that up with melted compound chocolate. Now, if you don't have a cookie cutter, just grab a disposable round plastic food container and cut the base out of it and use that as your ring. Then in the center, place a thick plastic tube. Now this is like the ones you get for balloons to hold them up, or you could use a long pencil or anything that's long and skinny and just cover it in plastic wrap. Use a spoon to spread some of that chocolate up the tube a little bit at the bottom and then leave that to set. Once your cookies are golden looking, take them out of the oven and flip them over and then put them back in the oven for 5 minutes more just to make sure they'll be nice and crisp. Whip up a batch of sugar cookie icing. I have 2 recipes for this on the howtocookthat.net website, and I want you just to keep whipping it up until it looks like this. Nice and stiff, and it holds its shape. Put some of that icing into 5 bowls and colour them all using gel food colouring. Take the black icing and use it to outline the outside of your rocket. If you don't have a piping bag with a tip, that's fine. Just get a Ziploc bag and cut a tiny corner off it. That works just as well as this. Add the rest of the black lines as shown on the template so that we can see all those areas on the rockets all defined. And now I'm just adding some white highlights. Now in hindsight, I think it's easier if you add these on top of the icing rather than before. So I'll leave that up to you, but I'd suggest you add the white later. Water down some of your white icing so it just has a slightly runnier, honey-like consistency, and add that into the body of the rocket on one side. Then mix a little grey and add that to the other half. Use a toothpick or the tip of a knife to spread that out all the way to the edges. Water down some blue and add it around the outside of the window, just on the window frame there. Then mix some blue with some white and add that to the center of the window. Now you don't want to add too much water when you're watering these down, just enough that it will just flatten itself out when you spread it. Now see here what I mean about adding the white later. It's much easier just to pipe some white on top than it is to try and go around it. So you can add the white on top here. Put the red on the top area of the rocket and spread it out like before, and then fill each of the fins with red as well. Now for the flames at the bottom of the rocket, add some orange around the base at the bottom bit and then some yellow close to the rocket where it's shooting out, and then mix them slightly together. And then you'll need to leave these cookies overnight for that icing to dry so that we can pick it up. Now for some more info about today's sponsor, Wix, the place to create professional looking websites. If you're not familiar with Wix, they have made a platform which makes it much easier for you to make your very own website without needing to pay a programmer or pay anyone else to make the website. You can do it yourself. You just click on the link below and then create an account. And then you just choose from all the website templates or layouts that there are. There's lots of good looking layouts there for you to choose from. Just pick one that has the kind of look and feel that you're wanting your website to have. And then you can customize that however you want. Delete things, add new things, just drag and drop images in. You can use your own pictures or choose from hundreds of quality photos that are free on Wix if you don't have your own ones. Now, the main advantage in setting up your own site is you can easily make changes and update it at any time in the future. If you decide later that you need some additional features on your site, then you can click on apps and add extra functionality. For example, you can put events on your site and sell tickets on your very own website. You can add polls, chat rooms, whatever you can dream up, there's probably an app for that. There's a link to Wix below, or you can just type in wix.com/go/how to cook that and get started creating your very own website today. Grab the chocolate ring that we made and push down to remove the cookie cutter so you're just left with that circle of chocolate. Take a look at your cookies and choose the two that you like the best. Flip one upside down, and these are just going to go together like this. So we can move the spare one and set that aside, and the birthday boy or girl can have that one after the party. Then what we want to do is take our stand and we're going to use some chocolate to hold it in place between the cookies. To do that, I'm balancing the chocolate disc on a drawer front just off the edge of the counter there so that the stick bit is at the right height. Then add chocolate all over the back of the rocket and put the support on top. Add more chocolate over the top of that, and then of course put your other rocket cookie into place on top, making sure it's lined up nice and straight with the bottom one. And then once that's completely set, you can stand it up, and we have created a stand for it that doesn't need proper cake decorating supplies. We've made a chocolate stand. Now take a round sponge cake and cut out the same sized circle that you used for that center of chocolate. Make a cut on one side and pop it into place around the chocolate. Cover that cake in buttercream frosting, and the recipe for the cake and the frosting are on my website, or if you're pressed for time, you can use store-bought cake if you prefer. Cut more circles of cake and add them the whole way around the edge. It's a little bit easier to add them if you flatten out the base of the circle a bit. Then cut more circles and pile them on top of the first layer all the way around the outside. There's no right or wrong placement here or perfect way to make it. You're basically making a cloud of steam from when the rocket's taken off, so you can just make that how you like. Once all your cake is in place, trim off any of the harsh corners so that it looks a bit more cloud-like. Then you want to cover all of that in buttercream, which can be quite tricky when it's a weird shape like this. So what I'm going to do is melt my buttercream frosting in the microwave and then just drizzle that melted frosting over the cake. Having it runny like this makes it so much faster when you've got a weird shape and you've got soft, crumbly cake. Spread it out using a spatula and then add Maltesers or any other round chocolates or candies all over the cake. Cover the middle pulp in white fondant and just squeeze that on there and smooth it down, and then draw lines down it, just indenting down so it looks like the rocket is shooting up. Now roll out some white fondant and place that over the wreath part that we made and gently smooth it on. If you have any big overlap creases like this, just lift it up and then lower it down. It's amazing how effective this is with fondant at just getting it to fit the cake, just by lifting and lowering and just pressing it down. Trim off the edges and tuck it in under your cake. Now take some grey luster dust and a paintbrush and brush around the bumps on the cake on one side and just underneath each bump. This just accentuates the cloud look of it and makes it look more 3D. I mean, it is 3D, but it makes your eyes see all of that. It almost makes it look a bit cartoony, which matches the style of our rocket. And now it's time for launch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! With thanks to my patrons and a special shout out to my platinum patrons, thank you so much for your support. Subscribe to How to Cook That and turn on notifications for more cakes, chocolates and desserts. Put all your requests in the comments below. Make it a great week and I'll see you on Friday.